Hello, it is me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned in Tarot. And we're here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy inside of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others and in our external environment. And if we want to see change, we do need to shift and change that energy within. And hopefully, my readings give you the information you need to be able to do that for yourself. Forgive me if I'm a little low energy. I've been in the hospital all day with my uncle, my mother's brother. He's her youngest brother and one of my last living relatives from her family. He's my favorite uncle, and you're not supposed to have favorites, but he is. I grew up with him. He was getting his spleen removed at the age of 15 on the day that I was born. So he and I have always been very close, and about over a week ago, he suddenly had like a fever that wouldn't go away, and he ended up in the hospital, and he is septic and his kidneys are failing. So he's being transported to a bigger hospital because I live in a very small town in upstate New York, and the hospitals really aren't great here. So they are sending him to Syracuse today. And we went and spent time with him. It was really hard at first because it's just hard to see anybody suffering like that. But he kind of perked up a little bit at the end. My sister, who's a Reiki master, performed Reiki, and his blood pressure went back up and his temperature went down. And so we just kind of stayed there with him for a while, but I'm pretty drained and tired, and I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with readings this week. Depends on what happens. So if you are if you're able to make any donations, I probably will need it this week because I don't think I'll be able to do a lot of readings. But if you do book readings for maybe next week would be great. You can book sessions, private readings, video recorded readings. Also, I have 7 days to do those. So if you book a $22 or a $55 reading, I'll have time to do those readings. So that's another great way to donate if you're interested in helping to support me. And if you do book an intuitive guidance call for next week, remember that whenever you book an intuitive guidance call right now, you are getting a second call for free within 30 days of the first call. So if you're interested in taking advantage of that, click that link in my profile. You can also find free extended readings on passes.com/pearlsprayer and prayers, and becoming a member over there is another really helpful way to support my channel. And of course, my music was released a month ago. I don't know if you've heard. Most people haven't heard it yet. So if you haven't heard it, please go listen to it and stream it and share it. If you enjoy it, I'd be so happy. And if you create videos with it on either TikTok or Instagram, I will be doing a drawing for people to receive a free intuitive guidance call session if you are interested in that. Let's take a look at the energy for the week ahead. And thanks to those of you who knew what was going on and sent prayers and kind words all day today. I really felt supported. So thank you very much. And let's take a look. So we're looking now at the divine masculine overall energy for this week. This is a general week ahead reading, which means we look at the general energy. And I usually do 11 of money too. So let me pull these cards out. We'll do it at the end. We'll take a look a little bit at the more specific energy of, let me just shuffle it now or else I may forget. We'll look at the more specific energy of love and money. But first, we're going to do the general energy. And when I'm doing this general energy, remember, you can think about another person when you're listening to these readings. You can apply it to your relationship or your connection. But if you really think about how this reflects more upon you and your internal world and how it's maybe being reflected back to you, you're definitely going to get a lot more information about how to shift into a space where you are starting to really see your manifestations that you've been trying, I guess, to make manifest. You're going to see a lot more movement there. All right, so we've got money and we've got love here. But let's just do the general energy first. Overall energy for divine masculine, the masculine energy of the mind, the intellect, going, doing, the material, the external. we've got actually the Three of Cups. I named this reading on Tuned In Tarot YouTube. If you are watching me on TikTok and you can't stay for the whole reading, it will be on Tuned In Tarot YouTube as I'm streaming, so you can watch it later. And I called this that it's time for a reunion, and the Divine Masculine thinks so, because that's absolutely what I'm seeing here in the masculine energy. The overall energy this week is reuniting, celebrating, having fun, having a good time. For some of you who have been taking the advice from the readings from the last few days, you may be dating again. Maybe you've opened yourself up to dating again and you're willing to go on a date, or you're starting to have just more fun experiences, or maybe you're dating yourself or doing like fun things with your friends, something like that. The overall energy of the feminine is the Nine of Wands. This is an energy of having been going through a period of healing and feeling isolated. And this can be a victim mentality, but I'm not picking up on that. The feminine energy in this card actually looks really beautiful, really centered. The orange is giving like this confident energy. So I feel like there is this feeling that you've gained so much from this time alone, and you've really worked to heal through a lot of these issues that you've had, and you're crossing through a threshold from this place of isolation into this masculine energy of reuniting or dating or putting yourself out there. It's like this energy of just constantly being on your own is coming to its close. And of course, that makes sense, marking it with this reunion. Now, the part about it being time for a reunion is coming from this underlying energy for the masculine, which is the Three of Wands, showing this feminine energy patiently waiting for that perfect wave to finally be able to hang 10, man, out of that Nine of Wands energy. In the feminine energy, we have the Fool card, which is somebody who's ready to start a journey, which is again emphasizing for me how this energy of the Nine of Wands is coming to a close. The feminine is feeling ready to start fresh. Again, for those of you that have taken some dating advice, maybe you're venturing into a new world of dating or connection with somebody, or just having fun or letting yourself have a good time, throwing caution to the wind, feeling fully supported on your journey. That's the feeling of this week. I do think that whatever your creative side of self, the emotional side of self has been waiting for, you're ready to take that leap into that. Like, you're ready to just have fun with it. If this isn't about any connections or relationships, and it's just really more about your career or where you're going in life, you're really ready to just dive in head first into whatever you've been very passionate about, or some kind of creative endeavor that you've had. It's like time for you to shine, and for you to have fun with it. I like that energy. So, what is the masculine energy carrying in from the past, the energy from last week? We have here the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is an energy of like trying to avoid or get away with something or cheat. It can be cheating, it can be trickery, but it can also be planning and strategizing and trying to do something unexpected or surprising. Kind of like somebody setting up a surprise party could also be associated with this card. It's not always just like bad things and cheating and stuff like that, cheating on somebody. It's really dependent upon the context of the reading. I'm getting a sense that this person feels that what they've been doing behind the scenes to try to bring about this reunion may seem shady or underhanded to you. There's this feeling of wanting to talk about it. Like this, I'm really focused here on the squawking sensation. Thank you so much for the heart. The squawking sensation where I'm getting from this crow, finally just blabbering everything that was going on behind the scenes. I feel like there was a desire for the masculine energy to just maybe just talk about the feelings that were being avoided, or talk about what was going on when they were trying to like make things go in the direction that they wanted or something like that. They're wanting to tell you what's happening. What's coming up for the Divine Feminine is a card that will not die over the last couple of weeks. It is the Wheel of Fortune. It's all about things changing and shifting, the wheel turning. And again, with the Fool card for the feminine, big risk-taking energy here. I'm just going to take this risk. I'm going to put my heart out there. I'm going to respond to that dating app message. I'm going to go on that date. I'm going to go on that adventure, because I don't like this feeling of something going on behind the scenes and I don't know what it is, and I just want to change. I don't want to experience connections like this anymore, where somebody avoids talking about their feelings, avoids telling me like what their thoughts are, what their plans are. I don't want to do that. So I'm really changing it up. That energy from last week, like you getting sick of that, is causing you to want to have different experiences this week, to want to do something different this week. And I like that. If this is about a person who was avoiding their feelings, this is about them feeling they have to make the change, which with the Three of Cups coming in, the Nine of Wands, the Three of Wands, and the Fool card, I do feel is a change in a positive direction. This current energy for the Divine Masculine is thank you so much, Danielle, is the energy of the Hierophant. This is the energy of having faith in something, of did you happen to send, I'm just checking, did you happen to send that for a reading during this live? If so, you will be first on the list after I finish this collective reading, just so you know. If you booked another reading, it's actually, I know that it must be for this one on the live here. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. When the collective's done, I will get to you first. Thanks so much, Danielle. So the Hierophant energy is this card of faith. This card actually was the top of the deck in that really abysmal love reading that I just did on Friday, where it was just, the energy for Friday was just, the masculine was like all in his feels so much. There were so many cups coming out in that reading, and the feminine was just like salty AF. But the first card out for the masculine energy was actually the Hierophant. So I'm not surprised that this is the current energy. This is somebody who has been on a sacred journey, who's been on a spiritual journey, who's learned these higher spiritual lessons, ascended, towards this insight. And someone who really is having faith in the connection, faith in a higher power or a higher force, and wanting to make a commitment to another person or to some passion or creative endeavor that you have, something like that. The feminine's current energy is the Lovers. So this coming up in the Hierophant, I mean, this is like a marriage energy, but really being committed or loyal to someone or something. This is higher level choices too, because the Lovers card is also a card that represents making choices. So this is an energy of just like choosing spiritual direction for your life. In terms of having the Three of Cups here with this Lovers card and the Hierophant, I definitely feel like there is the potential with this reunion energy for someone to propose a long-term commitment with someone else, or to start exploring, starting from the bottom of the staircase, to kind of go up these phases or levels in a new romantic connection, if this week is where you are dating and inviting a new connection, etc. In terms of like career, money, and jobs, I really do feel like it's like loving what you're doing and feeling committed to, like, that's what you're committed to. I'm committed to loving what I do. And if I don't love what I do, then I'm really wanting to change that. Instead of waiting around to see if something is going to happen, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make a choice to really do what I love this week. Where all of this energy is ending up, we have for the Divine Masculine, the Queen of Swords. So this is an energy of really of communication, clarity, thinking, in a strategic way, being creative about that, the Seven of Swords. If there was this energy of trying to figure out how to do something behind the scenes, this is trying to figure out what would be good to do, like on the up and up, so other people know your plan. This is also probably communicating or telling somebody what your plan is, rather than just like sneaking around and hoping what you're doing is going to work. It's a direct communication. There is, I think, some intimidation about how the feminine energy will receive this plan. It's like, this is what I really want to do, um, but I don't know if the way that I'm thinking about doing it is really going to work. It's like it's being a little bit intimidated that it's going to be good enough to really convey the feelings you have, or this could be another person. Is what I'm going to say to this person going to be good enough to like show her that I feel this love and commitment in this connection? For the feminine energy, what we have coming up is two cards. We have the Four of Cups, and it's coming out with the 10 of Voices. To have a 9 in the beginning and then to end with a 10 is showing me that there's definitely something that's being completed this week. It could be just painful separation, because with a reunion card where you're painfully separated from someone that you want to be with, or the life that you want to be living, or whatever it is, insert what you feel you're not experiencing that you want to be experiencing, that you feel this gap. It's closing that gap and ending that time where it's painful. The Four of Cups can be about receiving some kind of an offer. It can be about being afraid of rejection. It can be about needing to meditate and be peaceful. Um, for me, I'm getting the end of this painful period where someone has been afraid to offer you connection, or you've been afraid to accept connection because you feared that the rejection experience. So if you were avoiding dating and you've decided this week to begin dating again, you have put the fears of painful experiences around like dating apps or going on dates or something. You have put those fears aside. You've decided not to focus on abandonment and rejection, and instead focus on this overall energy of the Three of Cups, which is reunion, celebration, and having a good time. That looks really good. Let's look now at the love energy. So we're looking directly at love now, not just in a general sense. We have what we're carrying in from last week, this mirror energy, which says mirroring each other, self-image, relationships reflect our wounds, and introspection. So we did some reflecting last week upon love and connection in our lives. And this introspection that we have done is probably what has caused us to realize that we were either like, we were being avoidant, like someone in our life was being avoidant, and then we saw how, the parallels of how we are avoidant. For instance, like the person that I have always wanted to talk to me or whatever, avoiding that conversation with me for whatever reasons. And then I see my own tendencies to avoid dealing with my financial situation, which resulted in a repossession of my car. And my reasons for avoiding my finances are overwhelmment, like not being able to imagine how to get out of the situation, like feeling like I'm doing everything that I can, but it's never enough. Those feelings I'm having, that's what my person that I would be wanting to call in would be likely experiencing, except in terms of financial situation, it would be more in terms of like our connection or relationship. And they could actually also have financial wounds too, but there is an avoidant energy that you have reflected upon last week. What this has caused you to do is this, in the current energy here, we have breakup, separation, stop the pattern, silent treatment, and abandonment. So there's the abandonment wounds that were really being triggered for me today at the hospital, because I've had a lot of family members die since I was a child. Aunt and uncle, before, like they left three sons behind. That happened like before I was even 12. Then my grandfather passed, my grandmother a few years later. And it was just on and on, back to back. I had a 5-year-old cousin die of leukemia. Like, it was just over and over and over again, right through my adulthood. Just been something that's happened to me many times. Like, I have friends that haven't even lost a grandparent in their 20s. And I had like lost so many people before I turned even 18. Um, so those abandonment wounds are being triggered for me today when I was in the hospital. But I was thinking about how I've changed a lot of the way that I feel about death and transitioning, um and it was just an interesting experience to reflect upon it today. But the we saw here that in the future for the feminine energy, we have a cessation or an ending to focusing on abandonment and rejection wounds. So it's not surprising that the current love energy has this introspection or awareness that's causing us to see where we're going wrong and wanting to stop the pattern in a connection. So I do think that there is a person who has reflected on their wounds this past week, and they want to stop doing what they're doing that has caused pain and separation, because the final card that's coming out here is the separation card, which is pretty interesting. It says sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, and unsure of the future. So I do think that you may, in love this week, you may be ruminating or reflecting a little bit on the patterns that have caused separation between you. There may be some sadness coming up, or uncertainty about the future, but that's what's driving this movement in the masculine energy to be more clear, to have a conversation, to reunite and really talk about what's going on. Or you're facing those fears of rejection and abandonment, and you're starting to date again, and it's actually bringing you a lot of joy and excitement and fun. So that's another possible potential for you in love this week. In terms of finances, we see here the lilies. This is pure energy, the energy of purity. It's also the energy of things that are aged, older things. And so with a mirror card above it, and the fact that the mirror card and the stop the pattern and the wheel of fortune card, I'm getting a sense that this is about breaking generational wounds, like healing generational wounds or breaking generational patterns around money and finance. I'm also getting inheritance vibes from this card, but this is in the past. This is like what we're carrying in. So we have some of these older ideas about money and finances that are needing to be like purified or cleansed, because what's coming up next is the moon card, which I think came out last week, was about your dreams and fantasies. And in this case, this is a little bit of mystery and secrecy, things that are hidden. The moon is about the subconscious. So for me, this is using that mirror energy that we saw coming up, to reflect upon some of these subconscious wounds and patterns that are coming from the people that you're around. I often think about like, oh, what if people judge me for like my choices around finances? Because I'm back in my hometown, and my car was just repossessed last week, and I, was thinking about like, I wonder like, because my mom cares about what people think, like if she cares about that, or I was just reflecting upon that. And then I saw this thing that was like, any of the people that are judging you for your choices or money or anything like that, are they wealthy? Are they like uber wealthy? Are they like living their dream life, doing all the things you wish you were doing? Or are they just like everybody else? Like, even if they're comfortable financially, they're never going to like have like the palace in the sky that you've been imagining, or done the world tour that you've been imagining. Or why would you take advice from people like that? Why would you look to those people for stability and security when you're not even seeking stability and security? You're seeking like wildly unpredictable, satisfying moments where you receive so much abundance that you can't even possibly imagine it. Who do you know right now that has a perspective that could be valuable in regards to finances on that level? If you know someone on that level, call them and talk to them every day. Like, learn from them. But the chances are most of the people that are giving you opinions or ideas or their thoughts about your decisions around finances have never done anything significant or like powerful enough to be able to really seek advice from them because you're not wanting what they are content with. Not that there's anything wrong with their contentment. I wish I could be content. Like, that's wonderful. But that's just not who you are. So why would you be looking around at other people that are nothing like you and being like, yeah, their opinion matters? Or yeah, that advice is good. Is it? Like, who could give me, like, my mom has always been like, I want you to be a rock star and da da da. And then she'll be like, you need to get a job. Okay. Does she know any rock stars that are also working as her solution for me is always to be a teacher, even though I would have to go back to school for another fucking master's degree. And I have 2 bachelor's degree already. And it's just, I always have a conversation with her and I'm just like, okay, how do you expect me to go hard in a music career to distinguish myself from all of the other musicians in the world while I'm working just a regular 40 hours a week job? Like, that's not easily done and not likely to like push me towards my goal. It's doing something unique or something that distinguishes me from the crowd that will help me in my career, not doing something everyone else is doing, right? So something about that is coming up in terms of money and finance this week. The final outcome I really love, it's the heart card. And this is kind of bringing up this lover's card for me, which is about choosing to do something you love and feeling fulfilled by it. And here with the Four of Cups and this ending of the separation, which we're seeing is a big focus in love and stuff, there may be something about reuniting and being in a connection with somebody that improves your finances. It may actually be that, like, when you allow yourself to start dating or put yourself out there or start feeling good about yourself this week, that it actually attracts a lot more abundance to you. All right, let's get these final oracle cards, and then I'll be doing Danielle's reading here. Um, and the first card up is, wow, really reflecting back on this Queen of Swords card. It says, you see clearly now. So let me get from this book, it's number 43 from Colette Baron Reed's Spirit Animal Oracle. I just had a brain fart about her name. I'm like, that's her name, right? Yeah, Colette Baron Reed. Such a great writer, actually. I highly recommend her decks and her books. Owl Spirit arrives to remind you that the wisdom within you is informed by your keen senses and the wisdom within the consciousness we all share. Even in the darkest night, the owl sees clearly and is guided by every sense it has, including the first sense of intuition. Right now, your sensitivities are turbocharged, and you are receiving messages from all directions. Owl Spirit reminds you to be wise and pay attention to what's between the lines, what is invisible to the naked eye, what cannot be heard with the ears, and what others may not be able to perceive. With all your senses aroused, you have much knowledge available to you. Clarity will come as you sit with all that you are sensing, allowing your intuition to guide you in understanding the whole and not just the parts. Let your wisdom arise and be your guide as you trust the acuity of all your senses. Intuition is real and can provide the clarity you need to understand your situation right now, your relationship, your finances, your job, whatever it is. You can see the truth clearly now. And what does the truth do? It sets you free, baby cakes. The truth sets you free. Unbound. So there are definitely some people this week that are really choosing themselves, choosing to end a connection, choosing to stop waiting, and choosing to start dating. Stop waiting, start dating. And we've got an unbound energy, which says releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So this is really going in alignment with stopping the patterns and the generational wounding we talked about, which is really beautiful. Let me grab this book for you and spend an hour looking for the card. It's a triangle. I feel like that means it's action. Nope. Activation 108. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sleep like the absolute dead tonight, 100%. after House of the Dragon, of course, which is 8 minutes from now. Okay, let's see. It is time to release old soul stories, yes, that have been playing out in your life. They are coming up to be healed. There has never been a safer time to clear these patterns than right now. Take a look at patterns in your life, and we're on a full moon also. So I highly encourage you to do some reflecting tonight. Look at some of the patterns you've been experiencing and just write them down and say, I stop the patterns and I release them. Take a look at the patterns in your life that you are ready to release. Ancient vows and contracts that your soul made that have an expiry date. It could be a vow of silence or chastity or poverty. It is time to unwind from them. This is the life in which you free yourself from trauma of lives past. What old ways of being have an expiry date? When you name them, you claim them, and they stop holding power over you. When acknowledging these old patterns, it is also important to acknowledge how they have served you up until now. For example, a soul pattern of playing small, caused by a soul fear of being seen or sharing your voice, would have served you by keeping you safe in order to grow. You now need to soften by receiving and calling in support. It is time to unbind from the old ways of being that are no longer sustainable. Repeat after me. I release all old soul stories, vows, contracts, and patterns that are no longer aligned with who I came here to be in the present time. I carry the lessons, growth, and gifts, but I no longer choose to live the same story. May I be unbound, unbound, forever unbound. I love that. That's a beautiful prayer. I'm actually going to leave that out, and I'm going to use that as my full moon release prayer tonight. I encourage you to do the same. Ooh, I like this. We're getting a reunion, and we're getting this card, which is the pleasure card, girl. This is your self-care activity. Do you know what I say about self-care activities? If you've never been to one of my readings before, when I give you the final self-care activity, what I tell you is pick something that you want to heal, a pattern that you want to stop, a connection that you want to heal, a separation that you want to heal, whatever it is. Ask your guides. Actually, your guides always know best. Like, you'll be like, I want to heal my relationship, and your guides are like, bitch, let's hear your inner child wound about money first and then talk about relationships later, because part of the reason you want this relationship is because you have an unhealed wound about money, though. So ask your guides first. If you need help with that, you can book a reading with me and I'll help you figure it out. But ask your guides what you need to heal if you want to. And then anytime you engage in this self-care activity, it's automatically doing the healing for you without you thinking about it. It's the equivalent of me saying, stop thinking about a pink elephant. If you try to stop thinking about a pink elephant, you have to think about a pink elephant in order to stop thinking about it. So this is the activity that allows you to stop thinking about the pink elephant without having to think about the pink elephant. And in this case, it is pleasure. Pleasure, 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 which you can give yourself or you can receive. But your mantra is, I am worthy of pleasure. Repeat after me. I am worthy of pleasure. You can claim that on the YouTube video in the comments too. Love yourself. And nope, wrong one. Our bodies are magnificent temples of joy, bliss, and ecstasy awaiting exploration. Most of us have an upbringing filled with limiting perspectives about how we can experience pleasure and what kind is appropriate. As we begin to break free from constrictive perspectives, we can re-explore our bodies and all our senses to find new and more profound experiences of pleasure. The exploration is a very personal process, with the main requirement being an open mind. Begin by closing your eyes and tuning into your body. Ask yourself where you want to be touched and how you want to be touched. You can also ask your senses what they are craving. What does your nose want to smell? What does your skin want to feel? What do your eyes want to see? What does your mouth want to taste? What do your ears want to hear? Pleasure has unlimited forms, and you can call in whatever one you desire. So if it's really pleasurable for you to take a scented bath, then just engage in that pleasurable activity and know that it is healing you. Your journal prompt is, what kind of pleasure do I want to call into my life? What kind of pleasure do I want to call into my life? Oh, Bowie's got a hairball over there. You okay, Bowie? It's Bowie's birthday today, everybody. Say happy birthday, Bowie. Can you see her back there? That's Bowie. It's her birthday. She's 3 years old today. I got her 3 years ago, a couple of months after she was born. She's been with me ever since, and she's my little familiar. And I adore her. Okay, we are now going to do Danielle's reading. So thank you so much, YouTube. I am going to sign off now. I will likely see you this week on Wednesday. It was a really crazy week with my uncle being sick and everything last week, and my car being repossessed. My son was kicked out of his dad's house. He's fine. He's living at his grandparents right now. But I really wish I could just provide a home for him. It's very frustrating. It's been a hard week. Really, really difficult week for me. But assuming everything is okay, I should actually no, I take that back. My son is going to be visiting on Wednesday, so I may not be doing a reading on Wednesday, but I will probably be doing one on Friday for sure. And if you missed last week's reading, it is there. It's a little rough around the edges. You may need to do some energy shifting if that reading resonates with you. I definitely did have to do some energy shifting, and I got back on my dating app like I'm supposed to, like the reading told me to. But anyway, I'm not even concerned about that at all now. I am just working on being centered and everything. So thank you so much for being here with me. I will see you all on Friday next week. Have a gorgeous week ahead. And you can always hop over to TikTok or join passes.com/pearlsprayer for additional readings that I do post during the week. Take care, YouTube.